This mountain of brush and all these brush piles, this one single brush pile would have taken me 6 months to chip it all up. Well, what's up guys, it's Daniel from Arms Family Homestead, and the weather is improving. It's beautiful outside. Still cold, I can see my breath, but DJ and I just got home from the gym, had a little breakfast. I came to check on brush piles. Several are, well, a couple have burnt completely up, several still have a long ways to go, but I've got to meet a guy from, I really don't know what agency he works for. It's called the Oaks and Prairies, but I don't really know exactly who Cole works for. But Cole was the guy that did the burn plan for Dusty at Cross Timbers Bison when we did that big 60-acre burn. He's going to meet me at the Mill Creek property today, and we're going to go over some stuff and see if there's anything we can do to get, you know, some assistance to do a big burn plan, to do a safe, controlled burn over there, to burn a lot of that property, to try to knock back some of those cedars that we've been cutting down and just do some all-around property maintenance. Burning the leaves and all the dead litter and stuff on the ground just opens up a whole new world of life, and if we can get that done before spring, that would be amazing. But I got to get back to the house real quick, load up my big diesel bulk tank and go fill it up because the skid steer is at Mill Creek with no diesel in it. So need to get that loaded up and hurry up and go meet him, and then come back and probably repile a bunch of these brush piles and stuff, and see how many more people I can make angry for burning dead trees. Let's get started. Can't see out the window with the sun shining. Well, the donkey lady's out here hanging out with her friends. I went in the house to tell her goodbye, and she's out here taking pictures of her donkeys or something. I don't know.
I'm giving my donkeys new treats.
Okay, donkey lady, you stay here and play with your animals. I got work to do. Got real work to do.
Real work.
Real work, yep. Man work.
Man work,
Yep.
okay. Well, I'm going to do women's work, apparently. Whatever that is.
I said you sit here and play with your donkeys.
Yeah, I'll do that too, but you just go. Just go.
Okay, well, I love you.
I love you.
It's kind of wild. I'm only about 10 miles from my house, and there's still a lot of ice on the ground over here. There's a lot more sleet and freezing rain over here, I guess, because it's all completely gone at my house. $186 in diesel. All right, well, I got the New Holland all refueled and ready to go, and I'll go ahead and unplug my battery charger for my little diverter box. I don't know if I can do this one-handed without getting electrocuted. Okay, so I guess there was maybe a little bit of confusion on the last video. I was talking about this thing having a battery. See that little bitty guy right there? All that does is control a diverter valve, because I only have one set of hydraulics plumbed in and two separate hydraulic cylinders, one to control the jaws and one back here that controls the pivot of that. So basically, you use a little key fob to have an electric diverter, and it runs on a battery. So put this back up. You just have to charge it. I think I've only ever charged it maybe twice, so it lasts quite a while. And a lot of people say, well, why don't you find a way to power that off the skid steer or put a solar panel on the roof of the skid steer? Well, it would get torn off by too many limbs, and this isn't something we're going to leave on all the time, and that little battery does its job. So got that part done. I'm not going to be running the skid steer today. Those tracks and mud, as you see we have now, don't get along. It'll make a huge mess. I mean, you can run it in the mud. I'm not worried about getting stuck, but it will make a mess. It'll completely just tear up the ground when you have these type of conditions. And I did have Cole come out. I did meet Cole here with the Oaks and Prairies restoration program. Actually, he told me who he works for, and has to do with a I don't even know what he called it, but his job is to basically go out and help landowners write up burn plans and assist landowners in doing a controlled burn on their property. Which you met Cole, if you watched Dusty from Cross Timbers Bison, Cole was there. Cole did the burn plan and was kind of the burn boss that day, and kind of was in charge. So he came out, we kind of walked everything out. Actually, we rode the side-by-side and did a little bit of walking. But there's about 38 acres around the property that we can burn in a safe way. Got to do a little bit more cleaning, got to cut a few more cedar trees and make some bigger fire breaks. But Cole is going to come in and write a safe burn plan, and we'll have, you know, everything written up and filed, and get a bunch of guys out here with the right equipment, and we'll be able to burn the interior of this property, not including the hay fields and that kind of stuff, just the stuff that looks like this. What we're trying to do is get rid of a lot of the leaf litter. You burn a bunch of this, I mean, look at, there's just years and years of leaf litter on this property that have never been burned, and that will spark new growth. It'll set back some of the smaller underbrush, the briars, some of the small cedar trees and things, but it will actually just light the whole world up for small animals, the deer, the turkeys, birds. All the little animals will greatly benefit from burning a property. And I'm not a biologist, I'm not going to go into all that, but you know, we were talking, he said, you know, it's crazy. Smokey the Bear did his job way too well for about 50 years. And this part of Oklahoma is not supposed to be brush and a forest. We're going to have some oaks, some hardwoods and things, but it's not supposed to look like this. If you go back a couple hundred years, this is a prairie. We're supposed to be on a prairie. Fire was natural. Fire was supposed to be here. And as humans have evolved over the last couple hundred years, and you know, most of the Great Plains, the prairie areas, we've taken fire out of the equation. And I've done a lot of controlled burns on my property at the house, and everyone gets really concerned, and I know it's just something that a lot of people aren't educated on, but fire is natural, fire is good, and it can be controlled, and it can be used in a prescribed manner, and that's what we're going to do here. I don't feel safe burning it by myself, just getting out here with a couple guys and doing it, so I did call in some professionals, and we're going to have a burn plan and have all of our T's crossed and our I's dotted and all that stuff, and try to do it in a safe way and get rid of a lot of these cedar trees that I'm cutting down, which leads me to the next thing I want to talk about. A lot of people are really confused about the removal of these cedar trees on this property. So here's one, for example. I cut it down, it's laying, if it just stays just like that, eventually it'll rot, but it'll last forever. But if I pile a bunch of them together and we run a fire through here, we can burn and get rid of those skeletons. But a lot of people have said two things. A, why aren't you pulling them up by the root ball? And won't they just grow back if you just cut that off? Well, the main reason I'm not coming in here with a tree puller and actually pulling them all out is you'll have a giant root ball and a huge disturbance in the soil. So I'm going to be pulling up, you know, a half a bucket load, you know, of a skid steer bucket, I mean, not a 5-gallon bucket of soil. And then I'm going to have to fix all those holes. And a lot of the places where I'm pulling trees, or where I'm cutting trees, they don't necessarily need to be pulled because I'm not going to come back and farm it. I'm not trying to till the ground and that kind of stuff. So the stump will eventually rot. See, there's another little cedar tree. We can probably kill that one with fire. But a lot of people's concern with cutting them off is, won't they grow back? So this is a perfect example right here. This is, I can't tell exactly, but some sort of oak tree, probably a red oak. I can't really tell, there's not a lot that you can see. But that stump, that tree was cut down and it has resprouted and grown back. The cedar trees, the eastern red cedar, the juniper trees, don't do that. I've cut thousands of these trees in my lifetime. And as long as you cut it off below the bottom limb, they're dead. And I'm not gonna leave a stump sticking up that's gonna be dangerous. So with that mini clip, I just come in, of course this is a poor example because it's such a small tree, but I cut it off at the ground level and it doesn't leave a stump sticking up. You know, if I cut this one off up here, it would resprout and regrow. And a lot of those bigger trees, if I cut them off too tall, then that makes a dangerous stump, like that one. Obviously, you know, the previous owner just cut that tree down for firewood or something here next to the cabin, and it may have rotted or something, you know, it needed to come down for some reason, but it has resprouted. Ow, stickers. Everything has thorns. Look at this. Every little thing out here. Look at the thorns on that tree. So, you know, he cut a few stumps, few trees off previously that have resprouted, and I'm not leaving a tall stump, and the cedar trees don't resprout like that, but that one did, this one did, but these aren't cedar trees. Oh, and there's a lawnmower. Random things left in the woods, huh? So anyways, I hope that helps answer a couple questions. I mean, when you've got 6 inches of dead leaf litter on the ground, it's hard for anything to grow up through it, and we'll burn that off, and then you'll have new little trees sprouting up, lots of food for the wildlife, places for songbirds to hide, all that stuff will regrow. But I just wanted to clarify a couple things because I think a few people just don't understand. Everybody lives in different parts of the country and have different ecosystems and different things, and I totally get it. If you live, you know, say in California, where wildfires are a huge threat to millions of people's homes and they rage out of control, I would be afraid of fire too. Here it's just part of what we're doing to help the ecosystem. Yes, it's going to make smoke, but we literally have thousands of trees producing oxygen. We're not putting off that much smoke in the big scheme of things. So anyways, I'm gonna head back to the house and restack some brush piles and burn a few more dead trees over there, which is a whole nother story. Burn up pretty well. I'd say close to half of it burnt last night. I'm gonna repile it with the tractor and see if we can get it burning again. I'm sure it won't take much. There's a lot of hot coals still in there, a lot of places smoking, and a lot of little brush that we can repile. So let's do it. just about completely burn up. There's a few root balls there on one end, but well, restacked, repiled, and reignited. As you see, at least one of them's burning good again. I'm gonna go back to the house and feed and take care of the animals. I'll probably come back out tomorrow morning. I don't have anything going on all day tomorrow, so I'll come out tomorrow and light a couple more of these brush piles that didn't burn the other day. Should be drying up enough that they should burn, maybe, hopefully. That one did some good burning overnight. Probably got rid of another third or more of the pile. So in my last video, when I started setting these brush piles on fire and stuff, it outraged a lot of people, to say the least. And there were a lot of things in the comments that I don't want to say upset me, it didn't make me mad, but that I just completely disagree with. And maybe it's just because we live in different parts of the country and come from different philosophies, but a bunch of people were trying to shame me for wasting so much firewood. And you're out here burning all these trees when you could be heating your house with wood. And first off, we do heat our house with wood. We have central heat and air, but our main heat source is a wood burning fireplace. But honestly, I probably burn the equivalent of 3 decent, like 18-inch diameter trees a year, period. And there were hundreds out here. And so to shame me for not cutting, splitting, and stacking every log out here and trying to sell firewood and all that stuff, it just boils down to, I don't need that much firewood. And second, I don't have that much time. And I'm not in the business of selling firewood. I've got chainsaws, wood splitters, tractors. Could I sell firewood? Yes. But that's not where my time is best well spent right now. And then other people were really upset because I wasn't out here chipping. I didn't put the chipper on the tractor and chip up every, 3-4 inch diameter branch and down and use that for bedding or compost or whatever. And while I do have a chipper for the tractor and I use it on occasion for certain purposes, this mountain of brush and all these brush piles, this one single brush pile would have taken me 6 months to chip it all up. So you figure in at running this tractor at 2,000 RPMs, it's going to burn a tank of fuel in 3 or 4 hours. So 2 tanks of fuel a day, plus chainsaw fuel, and the energy and the time spent, it's just not feasible. It doesn't make sense. There's a mountain of brush back here. The chipper for my tractor, that just doesn't even, it's not logical. And the chips that produces are not, they're not exactly bedding material for livestock. When you go to the store and you buy wood shavings, where people put shavings down for their livestock, is totally different than the wood chips you get from something like this. Could it be used in different areas and different places? Absolutely. But I'm not going to spend 6 months of my life out here chipping up junk that I don't need. So we burn it, and that's very common in our area. You know, it does produce some smoke. We're in the middle of 110 acres and surrounded by thousands of acres of trees. We're producing way more oxygen than anybody on their little postage stamp, you know, lot in town. So we're cleaning up the forest. We're making it better. We're going to improve it. I'll come in here eventually and plant under all these trees. It'll bring in more wildlife, more food for the deer, more food for the birds, and everything. So burning these brush piles, you're not going to make me feel guilty for burning what could be firewood, for burning what could be shavings and made into compost, or wood chips and made into compost, and all the things that we all do and enjoy. But this, you're not going to guilt me for burning a brush pile. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not doing anything unsafe. And we're improving the timber. I don't know if you can tell around me, almost all of these trees are walnut trees. When we came in and brought our dozer in, this whole area of my property is full of walnut trees. And I left those intentionally. Some of these are 50, 60, 70 years old or older probably. And thinning everything out improves the soil for them. It improves, you know, what they can produce. And they're really pretty. So that's really the main reason I left them. But cleaned out a bunch of the underbrush and undesirable trees that we didn't want. So there's that. So anyways, guys, that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a great day. And as always, we'll see you on the next video.